Alright, you lot. Welcome to Hey Scotty. Only Q&A where your questions get answered with tenderness or a grenade in a portaloo. You ask, I unload. No filters, no sponsors, and definitely no arse kissing. Just raw and cut Yorkshire sarcasm and kinder honesty that'll make a PR intern cry in toilets. Think of it as digital pub brawl where we tackle real questions. FPS chaos, dev cock-ups, influencer sellouts, and occasional twonk who thinks SBMM's a skill issue. So buckle up. It's Q&A neat. No one's safe. Especially me. This first question comes from Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195 who asks, Hey Scotty, where did you get idea at word twonk? Ah yeah, twonk. Crown jewel of verbal tech dance. A word so sharp it could cut through Activision's PR armour and still have enough edge left to mock a Battlefield launch trailer. Nah, Pyro. I wish I could say I forged it in fiery depths of gamer rage, etched into cider of Brock and Xbox by blood of betrayed COD fans. But no, sadly I didn't invent it. Twonk's a classic British slang, been around since 80s, means fool, an idiot, someone who makes you question whether Darwin were a bit too generous. The first time I heard it, my own mother shouting it from kitchen window after I fell out of a tree, playing monkeys, trying to be Tarzan. Yeah, flaming twonk. Let's be honest, she wasn't wrong. It made one rare pop culture appearance in Red Dwarf.
You twonk.
A show that had more intelligence in a smeghead joke than entire EA boardroom has in a fiscal quarter. But beyond that, it's just one of those hidden gems of British verbal arsenal, like plonker, muppet, knob cheese, ballhead, colourful, accurate, and devastating. Most of the crap I spout on this channel are for its hand-me-downs from my Yorkshire family. Lineage of sarcasm and passive-aggressive parenting. Useless as a chocolate teapot. Couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. All phrases soaked in decades of generational disappointment and tea. Now don't get me wrong, not everything I say is inherited trauma wrapped in sarcasm. Some of it I make up on fly while scripting these rants. Usually when I'm sat staring at footage of modern shooter thinking, who greenlit this pile of monetised arse gravy? And since you asked about behind the scenes, here's a quick version. I script rants like a hit list. Key points, savage metaphors, and whatever twisted analogy pops into my brain. Then I record it, use AI to transcribe it, badly, which I then edit into English, and let YouTube's subtitle system clean up timing mess. I was manually syncing those hard-coded subtitles for hours, like a sleep-deprived intern at Ubisoft QA. Buggy, soul-crushing, and wildly underappreciated. That's why I stopped. YouTube takes but a few moments. But back to twonk. It's more than a word now. It's a badge of dishonour. A term for fanboys defending Brock and betas. Influencers pretending Warzone's totally fixed. And devs who think Bloom and Recoil are the same thing. So cheers for question, Pyro. You lit match and I bought petrol. Now you lot watching, drop your favourite British insulting comment. Let's educate algorithm and maybe we'll finally get Bell End trending on YouTube. This next question comes from Thomas Durham III, and he asks, Hey Scotty, what do you think at Surge or indie games beating out AAA devs in sales? Do you think indie games are what's going to save gaming? Oh, hell yeah, Thomas. 100% indie games at future. Not cost the perfect, or some romanticised utopia of pixel art dreams and quirky charm, but cost bloated, festering corpse of AAA gaming is finally starting to sink so bad even casuals are noticing. Gamers are waking up. Slowly, yeah. Like hangover after chugging 10 years of broken launchers and bullshit microtransactions. But waking up nonetheless. You got Nintendo about to charge 80 quid for ports. Ubisoft straight up telling you don't own games you paid for. And Activision playing God with matchmaker algorithms, while EA tries to charge you for load screens. Rockstar? They're busy counting shark card money while milking GTA 5 like it's last cow on earth. These companies got fat, lazy, and delusional. They think they're untouchable like some gaming royalty. Ubisoft in particular is finding out hardware that we made them, and we can tear them down just as fast. You piss off enough of your audience, treat them like walking ATMs, and they'll leave. We've seen it in every industry. Just because gaming's digital don't mean it's immune to market karma. Look around. British pubs getting bulldozed. Chain stores going bust. Local branches opening and vanishing like a farting wind. Why? High prices. Arrogant management. Shit customer service. Sound familiar? Yeah, because it's exactly what AAA publishers are doing. But here's kicker. Indie devs are winning. Not 'cause they got better tech or flashier trailers. They're winning 'cause they still gear shit. They care. They actually finish the games, talk to the communities, and don't treat criticism like a PR crisis. Hell, half of them are gamers themselves, building what they want to play, not just what some boardroom twonk thinks will move battle passes. AAA publishers are teetering on the same ledge as likes of Northern Rock, Enron, or Weinstein Company, drunk on their own power, blind to their own downfall, thinking it can't happen to them. Spoiler alert, it absolutely can. And a lot of us gamers, we just sat here in our battered old gaming chairs, popcorn in hand, waiting for the final collapse so we can raise a toast and say, "Told you so." Cheers for the question, Thomas. Now over to the rest of you. Are indie devs future, or are we just trading one evil for another? Let me know your thoughts down below. Alright, next up we got a lad walking straight into Lion's Den. Your boy Ricky123 said, "I'm looking for some feedback on my first devlog on game I'm making. If you could see the video I have on my channel and let me know what you think. I want brutal honesty. If you think it looks horrible, let me know and how I can improve." Right then, mate. Let's talk about that devlog. Because where you present your project matters. It's how you get people to care, how you make them want to follow your journey. And right now, you've got great instinct, but execution needs serious work. You're rambling. Hard. Sounds like you hit record and just let whatever were in your head spill out. There's no structure, no pacing, no control of it flow. You're young, I get it. You're excited. But if you want people to actually watch these devlogs, and more importantly, respect what you're building, you need to tighten it up. A lot. Start with a hook. One sentence that tells us what we're about to see, why it matters, and what's changed. Not, "Hi everyone, hope you're having a great day." That's fluff. Dead air. Kill it. Open with purpose. You're making a fast-paced FPS with parkour and chaos gun. Then tell us that right away. Second, cut noise. We don't need to hear about how you were bored in programming class for the third time. Mention it once. Move on. Nobody watching your video came for your school diary. They came for your game. Respect their time. Third, segment your content. Chat to your devlog mentally, even if you don't have fancy editing. What's new since last time? What's working? What broke? What are you fixing next? That's your formula. Stick to it. 3 to 5 minutes tops. No waffle, no side quests. Fourth, just for reference, is showing off gameplay. Make sure the viewer can actually tell what's going on. If you're talking about a weapon feature, zoom in on it. If you're showing movement, don't have UI elements or debug overlay blocking half the screen. Think like viewer. What are they supposed to notice? What are they supposed to feel? Also, you've got personality. And that's rare. Don't lose it. You're funny, passionate, and you clearly love what you're doing. But it needs direction. Control chaos. Not verbal spaghetti. Script your intro, bullet point rest. Even a loose outline would stop half at tangents and double your impact. And finally, think about who you're talking to. Is this devlog for future employers? Your classmates? Other game devs? Gamers who might play a thing? You don't have to pick one forever, but decide for each video. Right now it feels like you're talking to your mates on Discord while screen sharing. And that's fine if it's private, but if this is public, make it count. You've got potential, you've got drive, and your game is more interesting than half of indie shovelware on Steam. But that won't matter if nobody's watching devlog long enough to see it. This is your pitch. Sharpen it. Now, onto the project itself. Oh yeah, I didn't just stop at video. I downloaded your code and tore into it like a QA tester on a caffeine high. But let's get one thing straight. This isn't just decent for a young lad like yourself. This is solid, scalable, smart development, full stop. If you told me this come from a junior dev on a small indie team, I'd believe it. Only difference is, they'd probably be slower and arguing about naming conventions on Slack. I'm not too fond of Slack, to be honest. I prefer Jira and Trello. Anyway, I digress. Where were I? Ah, yeah. Code's modular. You've split everything into focused scripts that each handle exactly what they should. Your player controller ain't bloated. Movement, jumping, dashing, crouching, aiming, each has its own class. And none of them are tangled in spaghetti references or hard-coded nonsense. That shows discipline. More importantly, planning. You're not winging it. You're building systems that can grow. You're using Unity's new input system properly. No lazy get access calls. You're reading from input context, separating input logic from movement logic and making it future-proof. That's kind of thing most beginners screw up for months. And you've just done it right. Your shooting systems? Actually impressive. You got projectile and raycast handled separately. Fire modes, auto, semi, burst. implemented with clean logic. Bullet spread ain't some random fudge factor either. You're doing actual quaternion maths. That's not beginner stuff. That's advanced control over directionality. And you understood why it mattered enough to do it. Recoil, knockback, muzzle flashes, camera relative dashing, air control. All of it is layered on top of a solid base. You didn't just get one thing working and pile jank on top. You built an engine. The fact you're separating visual feedback from core logic, like letting animator class handle visuals while fire logic handles behaviour, that's textbook good practice. No coupling, no blow. In your wall interaction system, that's where it clicked. You're detecting walls based on surface normal. You're checking dot products against player orientation to determine wall sides. That's physics-driven traversal. That's how Titanfall-style movement were born. You didn't fake it, you engineered it. Coyote type, directional wall jump, grounded versus wall grounded versus airborne state, proper force application using acceleration versus impulse. You even applied your own gravity instead of relying on unities baked in rubbish, so you could tweak it per state. That's what a movement system looks like when someone understands control and feel, not just function. Jumping logic is context sensitive. Dash system respects movement direction and cooldown, and using real-time timestamps instead of bloated coroutine chains for managing timing. Efficient, lean, smart. And then there's Boom CS. You built a physics-based explosion and implosion system with overlap sphere and optional upward force. You made it static so it can be called globally, cleanly, from anywhere. That's utility class thinking. That's what separates code that just works from code that's built to last. I've tested commercial indie games that were less put together than this. You're not guessing, you're designing. You've absorbed core programming principles like encapsulation, single responsibility, separation of concerns, and you've done it without turning your code into unreadable abstract hell. There's chaos in ideas, but code is controlled. That's rare, that's dangerous, that's potential. You've got instincts for a real developer. All that's left now is to finish Fate. But let's dig into what's not working. No coddling, no vague do better crap, just real specific issues and exact way to fix them. Because if you want to get this game finished, you got to kill these problems before they kill your project. First, damage. This is probably intentional for now, but I'm going to call it out anyway. You got bullets, you got explosion, you got physics shoving everything around like a drunk on payday, but no dies. There's no health system, no damage callback, no gameplay consequence. That's not a shooter, that's an interactive ragdoll playground. You need to create else script, or better yet, an interface like iDamageable. That way, any object, enemy, box, or whatever can take damage as long as it implements rules. Call tech damage in your bullet script and your Boom CS. That's it. One interface, universal damage, instant satisfaction. Second, pooling. You're instantiating every single bullet, trail, explosion, and particle at runtime. That's fine in a sandbox. In an actual game with more than one enemy on screen, you're going to tank performance. Fast. Object pooling ain't fancy optimization, it's necessity. Preload a pool of bullets, disable them when they're not in use, reuse them when you need to shoot. Same with trails and muzzle flashes. Keeps garbage collection from choking and stops frame rate from dying in a fire. Third, reloads. You got reload logic, but it's instant. No delay, no blocking. You press reload, boom, done. That breaks entire feel of a shooter. Reload needs time, animation, wait. Add a core routine to delay reload. While it's running, lock out fire input. Don't let players shoot until reload's finished. It'll feel better, look better, and get game actual rhythm instead of letting players spam like lunatics. Fourth, dashing. On paper it's solid, in execution it's busted. You're adding raw force with no clamps or safeguards. That means if you dash in air repeatedly or stack it with movement momentum, you can fling yourself into orbit like a physics glitch compilation. You need to cap your velocity. After applying dash force, check if magnitude at velocity exceeds maximum threshold. If it does, scale it back. Or add a post-dash drag. Either way, rein it in. Fifth, grounding logic. You're detecting alt under player as ground, no matter slope. That means walls, steep ramps, cliffs. You can stand on alt, even if you shouldn't. Fix this by checking angle at surface normal during ground checks. Alt over a certain degree, say 45, jump count as grounded. It should trigger a wall or air state. Otherwise your traversal will feel broken and inconsistent. 6. Debug log. These logs are everywhere. Useful during testing, but right now, every jump, every dash, every state switch, spam. And if you leave that in when you build, console's going to look like a live chat during an esports match. Wrap them with if Unity editor or delete them when you don't need them. Logs are for catching bugs, not drowning in noise. Finally, your scope. You've got engine, you've got system, but if you try to build 6 genres at once, you're never going to finish. Pick one, nail it, make a 10-minute vertical slice. Somewhat playable from start to end. One enemy type, one weapon, one room, but poly. Then build from there. Don't try to ship Destiny 3 before you've made Doom, and that's full list. And none of that's fatal, all of it's fixable. You're not stumbling in dark. You're halfway up mountain, and these are rocks in your shoe. Get rid of them, and you'll move faster, cleaner, and you'll actually finish the game. Because having a brilliant idea is easy. Shipping them, that's hard part. But, Ricky lad, thanks for asking for honest feedback. Not a lot of people do that, and even fewer can handle it when they get it. But you clearly can. You got something here, you got brain for it, weirdness for it, and guts to build it from scratch. Now finish bloody thing. I wish you all best getting this project off at line. Won't be easy, won't be quick, but if you stick with it, learn from pain, and don't try to build whole industry in one game, you'll make it. And hey, when you're rich off sales and getting interviewed by IGN, just remember grumpy old git who told you your devlog were rambling and your reloads were broken. That'll be payment enough. Good luck, lad. Right then, that's all I've time for this week. If you made it through that carnage and still want more, join Discord, follow on X, consider a channel membership. Links are all down in the description. Go on, treat yourself. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave your comments and questions below. Might just feature them on channel. I'll see you next time, you magnificent